today since 8:30, so we're in recess now, so I'm going to call the Board of Supervisors back to order. And I think, Ron, you want to call?
I'll call the roll of the school board trustees. Trustee Cassioppo? Here. Trustee Crossman?
Here.
Trustee Ryan?
Here.
Trustee Wilkie?
Here.
Oh, Lori, that's your turn.
That's right, you got to help me out here.
I'm the worst one.
Okay, let's try this again. Trustee Cassioppo?
Here.
Trustee Crossman?
Here.
Trustee Ryan?
Here.
Trustee Wilkie?
Here.
Trustee Contine?
Here.
Trustee Williams, or Reynolds?
Here.
And Ron Swerzik, I'm here.
Very good. Unless there's an objection by anybody, either board will take the agenda as posted. Is that all right with everybody? Any objections? Hearing none, then we'll take the agenda as posted. We'll use that, and I'd like to introduce Ron Swerzik, the president of the Carson City School Board, to get us started off tonight. Ron?
Mr. Mayor, first order of business is the flag salute, and that'll be Mr. Reynolds.
Went right by that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Steve. Now you can go, Ron. How's that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, welcome, everyone, and as the meeting proceeds, Tammy Westergaard will recognize people that are here in the audience. But I'd like to start this meeting by putting this meeting in context as to how significant and how important this meeting is going forward. As many of you recall, the Board of Supervisors, the school trustees, and the Library Board of Trustees adopted each other's, or co-adopted each other's strategic plan. In other words, our governmental entities entered into a partnership going forward to make this city a better place. And tonight we're going to talk about and hear about education partnerships, the impact of those partnerships on students, teachers, business and industry, and our community and our region. And the whole idea of this is, why would anybody want to choose to live in Carson City? Why would businesses want to locate, stay, and expand in Carson City? And this is what this is all about. So some of the partners, and I hope I get them all that are here tonight: Carson City School District, Western Nevada College, the city, namely the library that I consider a community learning and resource center, the State Library Association, business and industry partners are here, the State Manufacturers Association, the National Manufacturers Association, and that's just a few, and we'll just introduce others as they arrive. But before we begin, I'd like to give just a little bit of background information of how we got here. Now, I made copies for Board of Supervisors and school trustees. I want to go back, and if you will all pick this thing up, it looks like this. It says, why have community partnerships? And the operative word is why. And you notice at the bottom, this was started in December 1, 2011. And to put this in a little bit of context, this community came together: students, teachers, parents, business, government officials, libraries, cultural organizations, and others, to say, with limited resources, how can we give our kids the best education here in the state and in the country? With that, and I'll read this since all of you don't have that. Where we started was questions with all these people in the room. And this is not a handful of people. We had hundreds of people here. We have community partnerships to raise the level and achievement and success for all students. Success means more than just taking a test. It means success in life and how it impacts businesses. Secondly, it adds meaning and substance to the pre-K-12 curriculum by linking, finally, teachers, students, counselors, parents with the world outside the classroom. We show students how and why what they are studying is used and applied in the world beyond the classroom. We prepare students for successful engagement in the global knowledge economy. And we use the word STEAM, that's science, technology, engineering, the arts, visual, that's performing, and literary, and beyond. And we use the word STEAM instead of just STEM. Provide motivation and spark for students. And this came from industry saying, let us talk to the kids, let us bring them to our business so we can show them why they're in school. Assist in job and career readiness skills. Strengthen our workforce by encouraging innovative, creative, and critical thinking in our students. A lot of the industry members came forward to say, we can help with that. Strengthen economic development within our community and region by providing a source of talented, highly qualified employees and others. But this is where we started, and that was over 3 years ago. And here we are tonight. The second thing, which is pertinent to tonight, is a letter, and I think you all have it in your board packets, that was presented at the time of our adoption of our strategic plan by Mike Jackson, the president and CEO of Micro Manipulator. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but just a few things to lay the groundwork for tonight. He talked about the needs of manufacturing. He talked about how our basic education, being general, was not serving the needs of business, and namely manufacturing. Let me just read you some things. He says, while a well-rounded basic education is priceless, at some point, it becomes essential to introduce a certain degree of specialization into the curriculum to attain the level of understanding needed in modern manufacturing. I see the idea of schools within schools as a good approach to this. And he's talking about our strategic plan. The paragraph before that says something very important. It says, don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating that we teach a student just what he or she wants to learn, but I believe to ignore the national inclinations and talent of students is tantamount to assigning them and the community to a loss of unique and valuable individual contributions. One of his paragraphs touts the good work with Western Nevada College and how good that is, but he's talking to us in the K-12. What's missing? His last paragraph, we in business and manufacturing community are your customers. We are engaged and we are willing to apply resources to make you, our students, and our businesses more successful through programs like the one being discussed tonight, and that was our strategic plan, so that we both may receive the highest level of success possible. Please listen to us. And tonight, I hope to hear, Mike's in the audience, I hope that we have listened. We are moving forward. It may not be perfect, but we're moving forward. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to turn it back to you.
I'm going to stand because my talk sitting down, I'm going to be talking to the Great Seal of the state of Carson City, the Great Seal of Carson City, and so I'm going to stand. Let me just say, I think this gets picked up. I got this thing on here, but this is what, the third time we've met together? And I think we are still the first in the state of Nevada, maybe the first anywhere in the country that does joint meetings between your city or county government and the school board, the school district, which is a testament to the unity that this community shows when it comes to one of the most important aspects of our life, one of the foundations of our democracy, certainly one of the foundations of sustainability for our community, and that's our kids, our youth. A couple weeks ago, maybe it's a couple weeks ago, I had the pleasure of attending a group at the Adams Hub, created by the Hop May Adams Foundation. And you know, Jeff Glass was there, Maya McKenzie was there, a number of you in the room were there as well, for the rollout of the new E-Network, which is a network designed to change the culture of our youth and our adults thinking towards the fact that we can all be entrepreneurs if we all create a different environment that we live in and that we think about how we approach education. And that's a new entrepreneur network that includes not only your school district, but the city, and more importantly, our citizens and our business community, many of whom are represented here. That's a big deal. it's one chink in the move forward that we in this community have the fortune of having. Because yesterday, to further that, I attended the first meeting, the opening meeting of the Carson School System Foundation, where you have business leaders, citizens coming together to raise money to do things that we wouldn't otherwise have the funds to do in terms of the education of our youth, all the way from kindergarten up to K-12. A big deal. And it's another one of those areas where our community is working together, again, for the education of our youth. And again, I think it was yesterday, I got an email from Tammy Westergaard, who shared with me the fact that the library received, she's going to talk more about it tonight, a special recognition from the manufacturing community for a grant. I think it's called Nevada's Working Capital, right. Another big deal, and I think we're going to hear more about that tonight. But those are all steps forward, and I see President Burton back there at the college with the Jump Start program, where we are moving kids quickly from in our high school environment into the college environment. It's another example of working together, that we're all here in this room together. And I'd like to just kind of say, from a personal standpoint, it occurred to me when I was driving down here tonight, we've had a long day, the board has, but, it occurs to me, and I won't kid you, I've been on a school board for a long time too, because that's one of my passions, but that, our board of supervisors, we make hard decisions all day long, and I'm sure the school board, I know the school board does the same thing. We make decisions that affect people's lives, and we make decisions that hopefully improve the quality of life for all of those who live here. And at the end of the day, one of the biggest decisions that we have to make is the education of our youth. Because, as Valerie Dockery said yesterday during the foundation rollout, it's about sustainability. It's about having our youth become educated to participate not just in our Nevada workforce, but our United States workforce, and indeed the global workforce. And that's what it's all about, is preparing our youth so that they can become educated and come back here and make sure that as we get older, and I'm already there, that we have a quality of life that we've worked so hard to make for others. And so the most critical decision, I think, that we make in this day and age are those decisions that affect education. And I don't mean to, you all in this room know the value of education, but I think what you're seeing here tonight is a testament to that, a testament to how much effort it takes and how much effort good people are willing to give to make sure that those of us who live in this community can rest assured that our youth, and I'm talking about all of them, public, private schools, everybody, can have the benefit of a first-class education, so that when the next generation comes up, we will all be better off for it. And so tonight, I just couldn't be more proud to be here with the school board, and I know I speak on behalf of our own board, that this is truly groundbreaking in the sense of not just two boards working together, no turf wars, no nothing like that, working together for a common purpose, along with each and every one of you in this room working for a common purpose. And that's the education of our youth. So on behalf of our Board of Supervisors, I want to say thanks to the school board, and I want to say thanks to each and every one of you for coming tonight, and we look forward to hearing all the good things that are happening with our library, with our schools, with our manufacturing community, and let's go forward. Thank you very much. Okay, now Renee told me, make sure if you speak, it's kind of cumbersome to say it, but say your name first. Each time you got to speak, she'll get, because you might not know everybody here. So, okay, so we'll kind of keep that as a ground rule. All right. So now it's the time for public comment. Anybody want to address things as public comment? Oh. Haven't seen you yet.
Only twice today, right?
Twice, man.
Mayor Kroll, members gathered here tonight. For the record, Aaron West with the Builders Alliance. I apologize. I actually would love to stick around for the actual agenda item. Unfortunately, I need to get back to the building for some other matters that are taking place, but I wanted to get on the record in support of item number 6 tonight. As it relates to the GoPro Academy, and if you guys had a chance to look at the flyer under where it talks about getting these kids the education they need and then getting them into the workforce and working with industry partners, I wanted to stand up here on behalf of the Builders Alliance and the 700 member companies that we represent statewide based here in Carson City and tell you how excited we are to be that industry partner. We have been working very closely. I can tell you these guys are rock stars. And the program that they've put together will help us get these kids the education they need to get them onto a job site and then to continue their education so that they don't they don't come in as a laborer and stay as a laborer. We want to coach these kids up. We want to really turn them into apprentices and journeymen and show them the advantages of opportunities in the construction industry. We're very excited to be a part of it. And again, I urge your support.
Any other public comment? We usually take public comment when we go through if we need to do that, so, okay. So, Mr. President, do you want to take over?
Okay, it's agenda item number 5. It's the informational update on the Carson City Library's new educational projects made available through the Library Services Technology Act grant, including Nevada's working capital and online and on time. And this is for discussion only. And let me tell all of you here, again, this is important as we go forward. And I'll have some comments afterwards. But Tammy and Sina, would you like to just take over?
Good evening. Hello, members of the Carson City Board of Supervisors, Mayor Kroll, and good evening and hello to the Carson City School District and President Swerzik. For the record, my name is Tammy Westergaard. I'm the Deputy Director of the Carson City Library, and with me here is our Library Director, Sina Lloyd. Our presentation is divided into 2 reports, and I'll discuss the first, and Sina will talk about the second. It's very important to both Sina and I that we recognize folks with the library this evening. There are a number of distinguished guests, so allow me to introduce and thank them formally for making time to be here tonight. But first of all, it is our distinguished Board of Library Trustees that I'd like to recognize. We have with us Chairwoman Sandy Foley, right back here. We have Vice Chairman Diane Solinger. Oh, Diane's not here. Trustee Pam Graber, and we have Trustee Phyllis Patton. So we really appreciate their support. And as is the case with the Carson City Board of Supervisors, who have, as the mayor said, been meeting since 8 a.m. this morning, these folks have been there's folks here who have been doing the people's business up the street. And in my view, one of the best things about being in a capital city are the public servants on every corner. And I'd like to recognize Senator Mo Dennis, who's in the audience tonight with us. Senator Dennis, where are you? Right back here. Senator Dennis is a long-standing, on-the-record advocate of libraries and actually has served on the National Board of Library Trustees for the American Library Association. And we also have greetings and regrets. They're in committee at this moment from Senators Aaron Ford and Reuben Kuhn, both senators from Las Vegas, and they wanted to send their apologies that they couldn't make it out of committee. Also from the Governor's Office of Economic Development is Mr. Karsten Heist, Director of Technology and Commercialization. He's a significant catalyst for the program we're about to discuss. Karsten is right back there. Of course, Carson City School District's Superintendent, Mr. Richard Stokes, who, although I know he loves to install solar panels to save money, I'm quite certain that this project that we're about to talk about has really captured his heart. And to be honest, with all due respect regarding this first discussion piece, perhaps the most honored guests here tonight are our customers, community members who have every right to ask public servants, what have you done for me lately? So allow us to thank the folks from the Advanced Manufacturing Concerns for their attendance tonight and ask them to stand and be recognized. Mike Jackson, you're here. Where's Mike from Micro Manipulator? There he is. And I know Sven is here. Sven Klatt from Weinberg Machining. And if there's anybody else here from Advanced Manufacturing, we also have the Nevada Manufacturing Tireless Voice with Ray Bacon. So he's here right over here. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. So on June 4th of just this past June, in a big idea meeting with GoEd's Mr. Heiss and Superintendent Stokes and Mr. David Steiger, who I'm sorry I forgot to mention, and President Burton, he was already called out too. David from WNC is the Director of Economic Development and Workforce Training, and he's been a clutch player with all of this. So we were all in a meeting in June, and the governor's office had this notion that we were trying to figure out how to create something of an apprentice opportunity similar to those offered in Germany, where folks could train to be competent in basic advanced manufacturing level jobs and then more. And then Mr. Heiss let us know that the governor was looking to try to pilot some kind of program and then ideally replicate it. So in that meeting, we all understood what the challenge was, but it was the library who by October had gotten together with WNC and CCSD in a program that collaborates with the Manufacturing Skills Institute out of the Virginia Manufacturers Association to create an apprenticeship portal that fosters community-based learning and in the highly focused technology, engineering, math, and science skills, STEM skills, as President Swerzik mentioned. In November, we applied for a federal grant available only to libraries, and that is what President Swerzik referred to and the mayor as Nevada's working capital. We were supported at the time with letters of endorsement from the Nevada Manufacturers Association, and we submitted the grant with the full support and partnership of the Manufacturing Skills Institute as a national partner. And they have recognized us as the first public library in the United States of America to offer this unique opportunity to earn an MT1 certificate, and you will hear from her in a moment. So the three primary elements of this project, this Nevada's Working Capital Plan, are as follows. It allows the public library as a central location that leverages technology and special programs to expose patrons to design and experimentation and foster focused but informal STEM learning that's relevant to local manufacturers. Second, the library patrons can access additional practice outside of school or work with very specialized engineering design software called SolidWorks and SolidCAM that's made available from WNC licenses that aren't currently being used at WNC. WNC signage will be with these computer seats on the second floor in the library so that it's clear WNC is a key partner, and it gives library staff an opportunity to let program participants know about the formal learning pathways at WNC. And for high school students, they're going to get exposure and practice with the software in special programs that demonstrate the program's capabilities, especially when it's combined with 3D printing. As well as those students from Carson High, as both of these gentlemen mentioned, who are participating in the Jumpstart CHS program, who are going to earn dual credit as seniors at Carson High, as well as students at WNC. So they all have an opportunity to get this MT1 instruction. And then third, the library patrons and WNC enrolled students in certain classes will have those learning opportunities to get that credential. And the grant is paying for 2 WNC instructors to become certified trainers in this curriculum. And it's also paying for 1 certified instructor who is going to be at the library, available to offer programs, library programs. When you're in school, it's called class. When you go to the library, it's called a library program. Summer reading program happens, the same time every day, day after day through the summer. It's the same thing. We will offer MT1 programs that will build on the same timeline as those being offered in the classrooms at WNC, only at the library. And our certified instructor is actually going to be our library director. Many of you might not know, Sina comes from a really, really strong engineering background. She joined our system 3 years ago as the Nevada Department of Transportation librarian. So Sina has the capacity to take this on and then to lead that programming in the library. So think about what I just said. Folks can take a formal path to get this credential, or they could take an informal path. And there is plenty of teaching to go around that we all need to be engaged with not every age learner, but certainly folks about 16 and up. And the grant is paying for that certification, and it's also paying for a certain number of individuals to be able to sit for the test and earn that credential. Now, with that, I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Manufacturing Skills Institute. She's coming to us from Virginia this evening, and we certainly appreciate her. So Kathleen DeRosier, who is the Executive Director of the Manufacturing Skills Institute. So she's going to talk about it.
Excellent. Thank you, Tammy. Now, I can't see you all. Can you see me?
Yes.
Fantastic. This is a little bizarre. I can only see myself in the corner of the iPad, so I kind of feel like I'm doing a presentation one-on-one here. But anyway, first of all, good evening. And thank you so much for the opportunity to join the meeting this evening and participate in this exciting announcement for the Nevada's Working Capital Program, which I understand, as was shared this evening, is a result of a brainstorming session that started last summer, and it's been evolving since then with the Governor's Office, industry, education, and the library in Northern Nevada. I am very impressed with the regional partnership among industry, education, and government to leverage assets to build manufacturing workforce to sustain and grow industry in the region. I prepared some comments for Tam so that she would know what I was going to share with you this evening, and I always find that I deviate from my script because I have such an enthusiasm for workforce development, and in the opening comments this evening, I was very energized by the enthusiasm and the willingness for you all to really blaze the trail in an area that I have not seen that involves not only the community college and industry, but also the public libraries. I will share that I have worked for almost 20 years in workforce development, advising various governors and legislatures on good public policy to align education with economic development policy. And what I see happening in Carson City is truly transformative. So I truly thank you this evening. As Tammy said, I am the Executive Director of the Manufacturing Skills Institute, and my lead role in the Institute is really to facilitate and support industry education partnerships at the community level. It's important to me that you, as community leaders and state leaders, retain the leadership and the vision for moving this partnership forward with the Manufacturing Skills Institute supplement as a tool for you to accomplish and build the vision as co-adopted. So having said that, I'm pleased that Ray Bacon, the Executive Director of the Nevada Manufacturers Association, is there in person with you. As industry's advocate in Nevada, I would like to recognize his leadership for ensuring CTE programs are relevant to meeting manufacturing skills needs and promoting the value of industry credentials. There is no more important element for successful implementation of the Manufacturing Technician Level 1, or MT1 for short, certificate program than to have industry collaboration with the public library system and community colleges through the NMA. I also want to thank Tammy Westergaard, positioned the public library as the logical hub for residents to seek learning opportunities and participate in special programs, such as the MT1. I must say that her research skills are fantastic and that she found the MT1 certification in her internet review and intuitively saw the value of partnerships to increase access to industry certifications. And I want to publicly thank Tammy for her leadership and her willingness to reach out to me and learn all about the program and to really seize and harness the energy of what it can do to the Carson City community. I also want folks in the room to know that independent of Tammy's research, Western Nevada College also contacted me last fall to learn more about the MT1 certificate program. So this project is truly the alignment of regional interests to create a skilled workforce for manufacturers. Northern Nevada's manufacturers can be assured that their workforce development partners, both the library and the community college, as well as industry leaders through NMA, are looking to national best practices to respond to regional workforce needs. To that end, Tammy asked that I share a little background on the MT1 certificate program with you this evening. What's important and unique about the program is that it was made by industry for industry. It is an industry-validated assessment, training, and certification program for all production technician and production support job roles in all sectors of manufacturing. That is to say, it doesn't matter what technology you use or what product you make, the MT1 is the foundational skills for all production and production support occupations. The certification documents 12 critical skill areas, which I will make sure that each of you has an actual copy of the certificate, which includes all 12 skill standards on the back and the individual competencies assessed under each of those 12 skill standards. These skill standards are broadly categorized in 3 primary areas: math and measurement, manufacturing technology and spatial reasoning, and quality and business acumen. When an individual passes the assessment, they receive the industry credential. It's important to point out that when I say it was developed by industry for industry, as many folks in the room know, in 2006-2007, with the professionalization of the production occupation, there was no national standard by which to train individuals for the infusion of technology and lean manufacturing and other important components within the advanced manufacturing environment. So within Virginia, several manufacturers made available subject matter experts to come together to identify what are those common core competencies across all production technician roles, regardless of what manufacturing sector you are in. And so companies provided over a 3-year period subject matter experts to identify the standards, the assessment instrument, and the hands-on curriculum. I know it was said in the opening comments, and this is very important, that it's not just theory that folks are exposed to, but the actual hands-on applied concepts. So our curriculum is very much a lab orientation where participants use hands-on technology for applying concepts to actual job skills used in the work environment. Some of the companies that participated were Alcoa, Boehringer Ingelheim, Micron Technology, Merck, Philip Morris USA, Reynolds Packaging, and Wyeth Consumer Healthcare, to name a few. I will share that the R&D phase lasted 3 years, from 2007 to 2010, and required a $2 million investment, which was the result of an industry education partnership. The program officially launched as a commercially available product in Virginia in 2010, and was subsequently approved and endorsed by the National Association of Manufacturers in 2013. Therefore, to Tammy's point, making it nationally recognized and portable. We've also worked with the NMA around career exploration and increasing awareness of careers in manufacturing through the National Dream It Do It network. So this is a national or a natural extension of our work with Ray's team. In 2013, I know folks often wonder, well, if it's the Virginia Manufacturers Association, then what's the Manufacturing Skills Institute? And we launched that brand in 2013 as an affiliate of the VMA, because as we were working with companies throughout the Mid-Atlantic region, they have facilities all over the world and throughout the United States. So you will see all of our MT1 materials branded as the Manufacturing Skills Institute. This has allowed allowed us to create a distribution to make available the program at the community level through academic partners such as high schools, community colleges, and universities, but more importantly, now through public libraries, with Carson City setting that national benchmark. I will share, and I know that we have limited time, but I do want folks to know that we are currently working with 20 distribution partners in 3 states, and we are in the process of onboarding an additional 16 states with 60 organizations to create this national network to make sure that manufacturers can sustain and grow manufacturing in regions throughout the United States. And I look forward to working with Northern Nevada and the Carson City leadership and really creating a model program that we can replicate throughout not only Nevada, but the United States. I will close in saying that folks may wonder, well, what's the return on investment for the library to be making the investment through this grant by providing these tools at the community level to create that pipeline for advanced manufacturers in Nevada? And the return on investment really is quite simple. As a result of having skilled and certified workers for advanced manufacturing jobs in your region, those manufacturers will realize savings in process and equipment changes, savings in streamlined process changes, improved quality and revenue to achieve customer and get to market ahead of schedule, in addition to reducing water and energy consumption and reducing maintenance over time. Literally, these manufacturing technicians take on more of an engineering technician role over time. I will close by saying that several companies now are requiring and recognizing the MT1 as part of the application process. We will certainly work with your regional partners through the community college and the library and K-12 to make sure that they understand how to effectively use this asset and meeting your needs. And we look forward to the work ahead. And as I said, this really will be a national benchmark for Carson City Library to set the standard for what public libraries can become. Truly, it's a workforce ally to advanced manufacturers and a conduit to connect individuals with career pathways and access to educational programs such as those offered by Western Nevada College and the Carson City School District. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be with you tonight. I look forward to having the opportunity to meet with several of you this summer. And I will say it's very, very cold in Virginia. I heard it's very, very warm where you are. So I look forward to getting there soon.
Thank you so much, Catherine. And I think because our connection, all that snow, it had an impact on how you got over here. But we got 98% of everything you said.
Well, fantastic. What you needed.
So how about this, to be continued, and I'll keep you posted on anything else that evolves after this meeting. It's late.
Sure, and please know that I'd be happy to record this and send it out as a video, re-deliver the comments so that if there was interruptions, then everybody can see a video, and
Okay,
we'll do it that way.
Now. Do it right now, because you're wearing all your same outfit, and we'll never know. It's perfect.
Right.
Send it back, and I'll send it out.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Bye-bye.
You all have a wonderful evening.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. Sven.
By the way, that was an extremely moving presentation. I mean, even though she was broken up a little bit, we got 100% of it. Don't worry about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yes, good evening. My name is Sven Klatt. I'm the general manager at Weinberg Machining. I'm also teaching CNC programming at the college. Yes, leave it to the librarian to get things done. Heads up to Tammy and her team to take on that role. I got a call from Richard Stokes that Tammy managed to secure some money and get some SolidWorks into the library. I figured she got like $5,000 or something. I was wrong. She secured a very large amount of money to do a great service to me a great service to every student at the high school. I was lucky enough yesterday to tour the high school and the new engineering lab, and kids designing lightsabers. That's how I started out. When I was much younger and we didn't have software, we did everything by hand. Today, I can tell you my 5th largest customer designed a gadget about a year and a half ago, and today he sells, up in the upper $1 million range, something he designed on SolidWorks. So it can just show you, if you have enough fantasy and you're a little bit crazy about and passionate about something you love to do, with what Tammy just created, anything is possible. We could jumpstart a whole different business from some teenager who dreams up something amazing at the high school or at home. It allows my employees to, come back to the library and practice the skills and the software we use every day at work. Now, we under the gun, my customers, there's no breathing room. We constantly have to go, go, go. But now with that, with the 2 softwares in place, SolidWorks and SolidCAM, they could come back on a weekend and have help with an additional instructor, not just me looking over the shoulder. And as well, WNC's partnership with the library, everything came into play. And it really just started out with a very small idea of how could we help everybody who's interested into manufacturing. I think this is a great job, amazing work to everybody involved, and thank you for listening. Good night.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Howarth. I'm a professor at Western Nevada College in the area of industrial technology. So I am pretty excited to be here with the library staff tonight and to represent Western Nevada and our partnership with the library in this effort. Western Nevada College is both proud and privileged to be able to collaborate in this way and partner with these materials to embed into our normal college curriculum the technical materials that will prepare a student to take this exam and gain this industry credential. So it's my job to look at those individual details, and as Catherine mentioned, I've been in touch with her drilling down into the details of what the curriculum materials are to make sure that they are rigorous enough and that they are in depth enough so that we can embed them into courses for college credit. And that's indeed what we're doing starting in the fall. So thank you again for the opportunity to do that. And I know that Western Nevada College is proud to have this partnership. And thank you to Tammy and team.
Tammy, before you leave, is there anyone else that would like to speak just to the first part of your presentation? Ray?
I'm used to legislative stuff. For the record, Ray Bacon, Nevada Manufacturers Association. I think a lot of this has been covered, but let me just touch on a couple of things. From the standpoint of the state of Nevada, we have a national reputation that says our education system is not wonderful. We know that. We also know that Clark County is our biggest single problem, but that's a secondary issue. So when you wind up with a credential that comes from the state of Nevada, it has a tendency to not have value when the people move out of state or they go anyplace. What we started pressing a couple of 3 years ago now is to get our education system producing national credentials so that that levels the playing field, so that when I'm running my plant in Nevada and my people have a National Career Readiness Certificate, or they have an AWS certificate, or they have a NIM certificate, or any of those national certificates, it now means that I've got a workforce which is equal to what my competitors have someplace else. From a government standpoint, what you're looking for is people that create more jobs, because that lowers the cost of government when more people are employed. From the employer's side, what we're looking for is a workforce which is focused on productivity, which is focused on what the customers want. So we have automatically a conflict between the two. This starts to bring that marriage together to the point where if we create more and better quality jobs, and probably not as many jobs as you would like, but simultaneously, high levels of customer satisfaction, high levels of industry satisfaction. Now we start to get to the point where we're really doing a community effort, and that's what you guys have done, and quite frankly, nobody else in the state has done. Let me just kind of touch on one point that I think is really critical for what this is doing. This is creating a skill set that right now is very, very focused on manufacturing, but the medical field is going to be into SolidWorks and various things like that faster than they're ready for. I got a cap put on the other day, and it's one of those things where I said to my dentist, I said, so how soon before that becomes a 3D printed project? And he said, sooner than I'm ready for, because it will. That's where it's moving. Probably some of you caught a clip earlier this year from a company called Locomotors, which is actually headquartered in Glendale, Arizona, but they have an office in Las Vegas that made a 3D car in 42 hours that drove off from an assembly or from a trade show in Chicago. They can make that same car. They make a dune buggy, a Baja racing type thing for about $100,000, and you can walk into one of their places and they'll have the thing in production the next day. It's lighter, it's faster, and it's cheaper. The competitors that they're competing against have a disadvantage of about an extra 1,000 pounds, and it takes months to get one, and they'll make you one in about a week. So it's pretty amazing where this technology is going. The point of that is, even though this is focused on manufacturing at this point in time, it's going to get into the future workers that you're going to need in the medical community, in the transportation community, in government, because government has been, in many cases, a little slow to adopt technology, and that will change. They will be forced to do it. But it also means the technology people. I don't know what Switch is going to do when they make this giant loop, which is going to probably come through Carson City because it's difficult to get there otherwise, or it's going to at least get close. But remember, what they're doing is instead of having competition to be on the fiber optic cable, they're going to build their own. Now, you talk about a way to build security. If you've got your own cable, you can basically tell everybody, I'm sorry, I don't play on that network because I've got my own. If they build that loop that goes northern Nevada to southern Nevada to LA to San Francisco and things like that, that's a whole world that I don't even think any of us today fathom what's going to happen. And for Mayor Kroll and I, who are old enough, we probably won't live long enough to see all the changes, but that's okay. It's still going to happen. And it's also going to change the service sector. This state gets a lot of criticism because we have a huge chunk of service sector jobs. Some of those service sector jobs are going to change. If any of you have not taken the time to find, I'm going to forget the guy's name. The job is called, or the book is called The Coming Jobs War, and it's Jim Clifton, who's the head of, one of the heads of the Gallup polling operation. Talks about the future and the nature of jobs, how much they're going to change, and that we could be looking at, if we don't do the technology pieces, we could be looking at long-term unemployment in the rate of 25–30%, which is not good news. Okay, so the key thing that you're doing here is you're setting the kids in Carson City, number one, to stay home so you get to see your grandchildren. Number two, to have the jobs that are truly going to be the jobs that are going to stick around. This is a really big deal. It's got a really long time frame on it. Changing the education system is always slow. It always takes, it's a production line with a 12-year cycle on it. And in the world of manufacturing, we don't do that. 12 hours is okay. Sven really gets pushy if things don't get done in his place in a week. So, but that's what we're into. We're into this long production line. It's going to take a while to change it, but this is really critical stuff you're doing. And Tammy and everybody else that's been involved deserve a lot of credit. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Ray, yeah. Ray, you mentioned the 12-year time frame, and when you were talking, I seem to remember, you and I have known each other for a long time, and you were one of the ones who got me, thinking about, what education was all about, and that seemed, when was it that that was 15 years ago, maybe?
Closer to 20.
Closer to 20 years. Well, I guess, after all that, those times, and we find ourselves, you and I find ourselves in this room here together. I just got to ask you, do you think we're on the right track?
I do. And let me put things in perspective, because this is a number that doesn't get touted. It's in the Tesla data, but you got to dig it out. Each one of those vehicles is going to have a little over 6,000 batteries in it. So when you start talking about 500,000 battery packs a year, that's 8.2 million batteries a day. You don't handle 8.2 million batteries a day with people. You've got to automate the hell out of it. And that puts things in perspective. Now, to add to that, every one of those batteries, when it comes off the production line, will be fully charged, fully discharged. I'm going to suspect that they're going to cut their power bill a little bit in the evening times. Just a wild guess on my part. Then it will be put into the battery packs. Then it will be fully charged again, or at least partially charged before it ships over the hill to California. I think at some point in time, and I don't know when this will be, but I believe at some point in time, if they truly achieve the volumes that they're talking about, the assembly plant will be here. They will not ship the batteries over the hill. Don't know if that's 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, doesn't matter. I think we're on track for a huge number of jobs that's going to take place in this. It's going to change the complexion of northern Nevada, and I'll be right up front. If you're going to become more competitive, you got to go the Dean Haymore School of how to get things done through your building for your public processes and things like that, because he's getting things done in 24 hours that the rest of the world's taking weeks on, and that'll have to change. So, thank you.
I'm Mike Jackson from Micromanipulator. First of all, let me say, Ray, I don't know what's wrong with focusing on manufacturing. The one point that I wanted to make is that this working capital program is kind of unique. Manufacturers are interested in workforce development, and there's all kinds of workforce development going on in Carson City. Everywhere you turn now, there's something going on. But the problem is that that's workforce development. I have a problem with Emily's class up at the college because she has some bright students I'd like to hire. But the choice is, do I try to hire them and pull them out of school or wait till they finish? And we have this problem in manufacturing where our customers want their products now and they don't want to wait that long. So we really need a workforce that we can pull from right now. And one of the things about this program is it has the capability to improve the available pool of workers in the area. Now, we would teach people that we hired how to work with SolidWorks, how to learn the manufacturing basic production skills. We do all that right now, and Sven knows that, and anybody you talk to in manufacturing will say the same thing. This gives us a leg up because it's a community program that someone that maybe is not necessarily going to school to finish a degree program can now get those skills and be very useful and very productive for us. So it really gives us a helping hand by having this kind of program in place. The other thing that I think is interesting about it is this is the kind of program that dovetails with the other workforce development work going on, and I think is a result of the combination of the two boards. Now you can have the same kind of things going on with the work pool in the community in general as well as the education system. And you brought together just an incredible amount of leadership horsepower here to make this happen. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Anyone else like to come? I know we're taking a little time, but this is significant and major going forward. Anyone else like to make a comment on this particular item? Okay, seeing none.
Pretty cool, huh? I just need to make a couple of more points about the grant. One of them is that the grant pays for 60 individuals to take the MT1 test. At the end of the day, once you study for the test, it costs $300 in order to take that exam and get that certificate if you pass it. This particular grant embeds what I keep calling scholarships. There's 60 of them available. 25 will be available in Emily's classes in the fall, 25 in her classes in the spring. And those will be divided between folks who are in the Jump Start program, but also we are providing preference to veterans. So any vet that is enrolled in those classes and on that pathway, they are going to get first priority status. There's still 10 scholarships that are going to be available to any person coming to the library and are enrolled in Sina's programs to be able to learn from her and take the test at the end of the day. I have a sneaking suspicion that if that's not enough and there are more than 10 people who want to sit for that test, that's a good problem to have. And I think that we can find the money for those folks as well. So it will be incumbent upon us to attract those people and to spread the word, and all of that is coming. But I think it's important that you know that. And then the last piece with regard to this grant is we also won a mini grant for $5,000 that's focused on our youth. It is focused from 6th through 10th grade. We will have Minecraft, an internal Minecraft opportunity to play Minecraft. If any of you are gamers and play Minecraft, you know what it means. So the network will be kept within the library. They won't be going out into the world, so no one's going to be chopping each other's heads off. Actually, our youth librarian will be making sure that the folks who are engaged with all of this are doing productive work and they're building things. That is also connected to a 3D printer, so those students will be able to print out their ideas and their worlds. And that directly crosswalks into the Nevada's Working Capital Program, because Minecraft is a game that Sven encourages his kids to play because it helps kids get a feel for a 3D environment and manipulating objects in that 3D world. So with that, I'm going to, one other thing, it's not Team Tammy, it's Team Library. The absolute courage of our Library Board of Trustees over the last 10 years for a fact, and them moving on and never saying never is what has allowed this great work to move forward. And they and the Library Foundation are responsible for $20,000 of matching resources to make this work, because those SolidWorks, that SolidWorks software runs on some pretty high-powered computers. So we have to replace those computers, and it is through those gifts that that's going to be made possible. And now I'll tell you, I'm going to turn you over to Sina, because she's going to tell you about the LSTA grant program that we are currently in. It's about a little over halfway over. So this came from a big idea in a sort of similar way, and we'll let her go.
Sina Lloyd, Library Director for the record. And I'm just really excited to be here with you guys today to talk about what we have been doing in what we call our Digitorium. That idea came to life as we looked for how do we utilize our space in the library just a little bit better so that we don't have a space that's empty the majority of our open hours. And our idea then became a technology-based area where students and the community could go into production. They can produce, they can use the green screen that we have in the stage area to make movies, they can make documentaries, and all in this process, they're essentially learning. And so this LSTA grant, it's online on time, and it was to work with every single freshman in the Carson City School District to essentially build a digital object, or in this case, it became a PSA, about something in their school. So Carson High School. And you'll end up seeing some of those a little bit later. But these digital production this is giving kids marketable skills, skills that they can then use later on in their educational careers, potentially in businesses in Carson City, making a commercial, giving ideas, marketing a company that they might build as an entrepreneur in one of Billy McHenry's classes later down the road. And so just a little bit about the grant right now and the goals that we have met so far. Essentially, every single freshman currently has walked through those library doors. They've been able to tour and see what we have in the library, and the majority of them have gotten library cards and they've used our equipment. I do want to recognize two of them that are here with us today, missing the high school basketball playoff game, and that's Alana Burson and Jessica Preston. You can have. Thank you, guys. And I don't want to give too much away about what they did because you're going to be able to see it, and Sandy will be announcing that shortly. So with that, I'm going to invite Alan Gosling up to talk a little bit as well.
For the record, Alan Gosselin, Carson City School District Office of College and Career Readiness. I believe with my 2 minutes, it'll put us right on point of our goal of 18-minute presentation, so good work, everybody. This is a night of celebration, and we could be here all night. In fact, we could be here till the sun comes up. What the three organizations have done, the school board, the city supervisors, the library board, is to recognize that we want the same things. We have the same goals. And to formally adopt your plans and to take down any barriers that might exist. I think in the past we might have been able to make excuses why things couldn't happen, logistical reasons. But now we're working together. Our efforts are aligned, and we can coordinate them, and we have, to steal a word from Jeff Glass, we'll get here later from, we're a community of abundance. We have an abundance of resources. We have an abundance of vision. We have innovators, and we're all working together, and we have specific examples with this library partnership. We're excellent at literacy and writing and reading, but literacy today means the video media. How can we get all freshmen to be literate in video media? As a school district alone, we can't accomplish that, as we don't have the resources. Tammy, Sina, Molly say, well, here's how. We will get a grant, we'll build a digitorium where we'll have all the hardware that you need. No excuse there. Well, if we have our kids work on this, it'll take away from our core curriculum. No worries, we'll make sure that it's open after school hours and that kids can get there. And no matter how, we won't turn anybody away. And literally 100 kids in the digitorium at the same time working on what is really a 5-paragraph essay, which would not engage many of our kids. But if you put it into a video format, it engages them, and they want to do this work, and they did. And we'll see 2 fantastic examples of that. You'll hear from other partnerships tonight, and again, we could go on and on. It really is magical, what is happening. It's a little scary. We've got to keep all these plates spinning, but the good thing is we've got lots of people to help do that. So thank you for this time.
Sina Lloyd, Carson City Library Director, again for the record. One of the things that I did want to mention along those lines is the Digitorium came out of funds not only from the library's gift fund, but also from the Carson City Library Foundation. And they were able to, with their help, we purchased 20 MacBook Pros, similar to what you see here, and that's how these kids have essentially been able to make what they did. And you don't see a lot of Macs in the classroom anymore, and so it gives them an opportunity to essentially learn something new, because it is different, and it was difficult. I'm sure some of these kids are probably nodding their heads behind me, but it's just really exciting that they took on that challenge and did what they did. So with that, I'd like to welcome up the Library Board Chair, Sandy Foley.
Now we're getting to the good stuff. Okay, for the record, my name is Sandy Foley. I'm the chairperson of the Library Board of Trustees, and I used to work for a lot of you people. Okay, there's a bestseller out there right now called The Boys in the Boat. It's a story about the crew rowing team in the University of Washington in the 1930s, early 1930s, and they were training to go to the Olympics in Germany in 1936. As you know, crew and rowing is an Ivy League sport and was available to people who had every single resource in the world. These kids didn't. So with that, when I read the book, or when I was reading the book, I thought about how that compares with Carson City. and how the lessons from rowing and crew can apply and compare to the lessons that we're learning here today. First, I don't know if any of you have been in a rowboat by yourself versus being in a rowboat with 9 other people. You have to know,
I'm retired Navy. I've been a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then you should be. All the team members must execute the movements they have to be in sync. They have to be doing things at the same time. If they're not, the boat will go in circles or the boat will just stop. I think that's where we are right now. All of us we have this unique opportunity to be together and working on the same thing at the same time. It's good timing for the city, it's good timing for the school district, it's good timing for the library. These boys that were in the boat, like I said, were working against difficult odds. There was the Depression, World War II was coming on. They were trying to make it into college and through college. And think back, we've had a huge recession. We've had a terrible job market and a brand new job market that people have to navigate. And we also have the need for new skills. Each person, each entity, and each organization here provides a unique skill set, just as each person in that boat had a unique skill set, a unique position in that boat. In today's, I want to thank Frank Lesueur's article in the Nevada Appeal today called What Are You Reading? Couldn't let that one go by. He was a 20-year veteran in the Foreign Service in Africa. And he was asked by someone wanted to build a library, and they said, why build a library in Africa? And this was like 2011. And one of the people said, the internet brings information, vast amounts of information, but books and libraries bring wisdom. And I thought that was really a neat understanding of what we're all about here in schools and in libraries. We need all the boys, the girls, the teachers, the businesses. We need all those people in this boat in order to have our kids gain the information skills, the skills, and the wisdom that they need to be a successful part of this community. And I think that's what's happening here. It's fantastic, it's exciting, and I feel like we're actually all rowing in the same direction at the same time, which, as you know, Mayor, is a good thing. So the best part of this program tonight is sitting right back here. We have 2 teams. The first one is going to be introduced by Alana Burson, and Kyle Glansman was the other member of that team. The second team is Victoria DeFilippi, Jessica Preston, who's going to be here today, Stacy Torres, Ella Haggerty, and Alexandra Sipple. So these are the winners of our PSA programs, and they are going to be seen at the Galaxy. So they're published, as we like to say in the library world. So without further ado, we'll have Alana, or Molly, or you want to come up and.
Hi, I'm Alana Burson, and we did our PSA on how exercise affects academic achievement. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jessica Preston, and my group, we decided to do a PSA that was about getting involved in any school activity, not just one. Because getting involved in any school activity, it'll help you go to school every day. So if you get involved, you're going to want to go to school. You're going to want to go do that activity. And so that's kind of what we try to urge kids to do. So here we go.
And especially with this last one, I just wanted to recognize Sina Lloyd, Carson City Library Director, for the record, that these kids not only had to do this, but they also had to get permission to use some of the images and the music and all of these items. And so they learned how to do that. They learned how to contact a business and say, hey, can I use your items for an educational purpose? And in some cases, talk them out of having to pay for it. So it is really great. I also really quickly wanted to recognize our online on-time coordinator, Molly Walt, for spending the hours in the Digitorium space with these kids, helping them with these projects and helping them with a lot of technical difficulties that we all had to work through. So.
Can I just give a little final comment before we go to the next agenda item or a short recess? We didn't think it was going to be this long. But Tammy, to you, to Sina, to the library staff, to the Board of Supervisors, Nick is the city manager, our superintendent. Every once in a while, there comes along in any community a unique person. And I think you're that person. You have done some magical things here, and I'll speak maybe on behalf of the school board. Thank you so very much, and Sina, your work in bringing this forward and combining it all with the Carson City School District, WNC, industry, and taking this city forward. So thank you so very much. Mr. Mayor, can we take just a 5-minute break, and then we'll be right back for the next part of this?
Well, you're in charge. I'll do what you tell me. We're in recess for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We'll come back.
Okay, yeah, I know. That's okay. Okay, it's 5 minutes is up, and we're on to the next agenda item. And that's agenda item number 6, which is an informational update on the Jumpstart College partnership between Carson City School District and Western Nevada College regarding both academic and career and technical education programs. We have, I see Sue Kima. Kevin Edwards is somewhere here.
Mr. Chairman, could I interrupt for just a moment, please? I'd just like to announce that Carson did win their basketball game in double overtime. Double overtime, they won 61-60.
How nice is this? What a great evening, huh?
It's a wonderful evening.
Okay, Sue, and then Kevin, would you just come on up? And then we got John Kinkella. Okay.
Are we ready? Okay, Susan Kima for the record. Good evening. I along with Mr. John McKenna, Dean of Students, or John McKenna. I'm looking at Mr. Kroll and going back. There you go. I, along with Mr. John Kinkella, Dean of Students from Western Nevada College, we are excited to present to you this Jumpstart project. Before we get started, we too have some people we want to recognize. Once again, Chet Burton, President of WNC, and also Robert Weininger, Vice President, Academic Affairs. Without those two, this project wouldn't have been to fruition up at the college level. And then also Mr. Stokes, and Superintendent, Carson City School District. And I must say, Tasha Fuson, our principal at Carson High School. This was all planned in the spring. She walked into Carson High and implemented the plan. So thank you very much for that. The goal of Jumpstart College, this partnership, is to bring authentic college and career opportunities to our students. It gives an opportunity for our students to rethink their senior year and for them to think about it in ways to earn dual credit, to increase their ACT, SAT score possibilities, to decrease the probability of remediation, and also to earn transfer credits to the university of their choice. Those are all things that you're going to be able to see take place as we go through the presentation. First of all, though, this project wasn't just a partnership with Carson City School District. WNC, when they say go big or go home, they mean it. They partnered with 5 school districts: Carson, Churchill, Douglas, Lyon, and Story. I'm just going to give you kind of the big picture. There were 10 high schools that were involved. There were 9 teacher assistants to provide support to the students who were working with this college process. College faculty was involved, 17 of those. 33 individual courses were taken or offered during the first semester. We wanted to know, how were our students doing against regular college students? So we looked at, the college put together some data for us. With math completion rates, the average WNC student completion rate was at 56.7%. And our Jumpstart students, this is not just Carson City, this is the 5 school districts, we're at 96.4% completion rate for the math. And then for the English, it was 98.5% completion rate with a 5-district average of 98.2% completion rate for both of those classes. So there's some celebrations right off the bat there, because we're always looking for ways, those temperature checks on how are we doing in preparing our students for the next level, whether it's career or for college. Nevada isn't set up where we have automatic data shares with our higher ed institution. So we got to be creative to find ways to say, how are our students being successful and what's our evidence? So something you've been waiting for is, what does it look like specifically for our Carson City School District students? You can see the English and math course completions, what we looked at again, the averages, and then that 100%, I should have probably made that really big red, bold letters. Our Carson High students had 100% completion rate, and so we're very, very proud of that. John has mentioned in other groups when we present that the college was hoping that get at least maybe 1 out of those cohorts to have 100% completion rate. There were 4 altogether, and Carson City School District was one of those 4. So we're very, very proud of this, this first semester start, and our students are back at it for second semester. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kinkilla, who will talk about also the project itself.
For the record, I'm John Kinkella, Dean of Student Services at the college, and just wanted to share a story. We did this at one of the other school board meetings, and the president of the board has a daughter in the program, and after we shared the data, he stood up and he said, I appreciate the data, but this is very personal to me. So I want to tell you what's going on in my house tonight, is there's 5 girls from this high school who have come over and they made an agreement. They leave their cell phones in the kitchen and they come into the living room and they study for 3 hours. He says, this is what I've been hoping for, and I've been preaching this to my daughter, but when she joined this program, she rose to the occasion and became a college student. And her work habits and her study habits changed over the course of actually the first 4 weeks. They decided to do this together. And he said, what was really striking as a parent was watching 5 teenagers part with their cell phones for 3 hours. That was unbelievable. So we're really happy about that. And another parent sent me an email a couple of days ago that her daughter had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome in the 3rd grade and told she would never go to college. It wasn't going to be possible. But the program that Ms. Kima and Carson High designed provided the support for her to participate in the program, but also to achieve a 3.25 GPA the first semester. And the mother said, I can't tell you how important that is to me, that you provided this program for her. And so, of course, hearing stuff like that, it's important to me that we continue to do this. So next year, Track A is going to be the group that's college ready. They'll be taking essentially virtually their whole freshman year of college concurrently with their senior year of high school. And so if they take 2 classes during the summer, they can walk into UNR or WNC as sophomores instead of freshmen, which is a tremendous advantage. And when we're talking about partnerships, this is actually working together. And the results Ms. Keem already shared with you is tremendous. So that's what next year is going to look like for the Track A. But we wanted to provide for everyone. And so we started Track B for next year. These are for the students, especially the first generation students, the ones that are not native English speakers, who don't write at the college level at the end of junior year like many of the students do. So we've set up a program so that when they leave Carson in English and in math, they will walk into any Northern Nevada college, whether it's TMCC, UNR, or WNC, at the college level. We've signed an agreement between the school district and the college. We will accept C's or better in those courses. They go right in to college level English and right into college level math. And you know, the problem with remediation is if they start college in 2 remedial courses, they have less than a 10% chance of graduating. So this is going to blow a hole in that remediation rate, and we're going to see a lot more success. We're also going to offer a college course, EPY 150, in the fall, and then the students love that communications class to get up and talk in front of their peers. They're scared to death, but it gives them a lot of confidence. So Track B will have that in the spring. Lupe, who is our Latino outreach coordinator, is going to be the coach for this group and help them. Just as an aside, her Latino cohort program, the college graduation rate is 22%, which is as good as any community college in the state, actually a little better. Lupe's last group, 62% graduation rate. So we're really pleased with the work she's done and with the work she's going to do in conjunction with Carson High with this Track B. We're really excited, especially after the first presentation, to introduce Track C, which is the Automated and Industrial Systems track and Construction track. And what I'd like to do is have the faculty come up and say a word about that.
Thank you. Good evening. For the record, my name is Nigel Harrison, professor of construction technology. I'd like to focus on 2 paths, basically, that the Track C will provide for our students. The first one is that, and Aaron from the Builders Alliance kind of hinted on this, that there are hundreds of industry leaders right in our own backyard ready to hire these students this summer right after they get out of high school. And it's because of the national certification that these students will achieve after their senior year of high school from the National Center for construction in, National Center for Construction and Research and Education. These students will be able to have a strong resume right out of high school without any real working experience, and they'll also have the knowledge, skills, and confidence to be a true asset to any employer on day one. Also, the second path will be that they will be able to pursue a degree using their 18 credits that they achieved their senior year of high school, which will put them a year ahead of their peers and at the third of the cost of a regular school. 18 credits. Yep. And so the fact of the matter is that construction is back and that Western Nevada College is going to lead the way in providing confident workforce for the industry. Thank you.
Hello again, Emily Howarth, Western Nevada College. I'm a professor of industrial technology, and I'm really thrilled to add that to the Jumpstart offerings starting in fall. And what students will be able to encounter are 10 units of rigorous college coursework that includes electrical, pneumatics, hydraulics, electronics, robotics, all sorts of mechanical systems that will prepare them to work in manufacturing, distribution, and logistics. The first semester series of courses will prepare students to take the MT1 credential that we talked about earlier tonight, that exciting new program, and provides a stackable credential where they could go on to earn a 30-unit college certificate of achievement and could go from there, latter step into the Associate of Applied Sciences and Technology that Western Nevada College offers. So thank you for the opportunity to support our students and to give them this option. Those students may think that college isn't for them, and we can hook them in this program and say, well, whatever you were thinking, this may be something for you. So thanks for the opportunity, and a special thanks to the team that I work with at Western Nevada College that has been so supportive in making this happen.
So we're really delighted at the results we've had so far, and that we're expanding this offering to include other students in this. And really grateful for the partnership and for Sue Kima leading the charge in designing it along with the staff from Carson High School, because the design worked. They did a beautiful job, and it didn't just benefit Carson High, but 5 different school districts. Students are benefiting from the work that was done here.
Do you have any questions of us or any of the team?
Can I just have one?
Go ahead.
So can I just ask, is there a cost for the students to participate in the Jumpstart program?
So what we did for this year was the students had paid $90 per course so that they had some skin in the game. And that's the charge, the same as what we did for AP classes.
Any questions, comments?
No, I have a comment. Any chance we can get, next time we have one of these joint meetings, we can get somebody from Tesla to come down here? And just, I don't care if they talk or not, just come here and listen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because, you hear what happened here, what's going on in Jumpstart, that's really rather amazing. I mean, that's a big deal. So, anyway, so, hey.
I'm pretty sure we can get somebody from Panasonic at least. I know her.
Ray, that's wonderful. So I'll coordinate with you, so that's great. All right.
If I may, along the lines of Tesla, we met this week with representatives from Tesla again at Western Nevada College, and we told them about the initiatives. We told them about what they're doing, and they are fired up, and they came to meet with us and said the word partnership many, many times.
I'd also just like to add one thing. The Naval Air Station Fallon has an education coordinator, and she told me they have sailors coming in from all over the United States, all over the world, and they expect this. They expect a Jumpstart program that is going to be available to them. They're coming from back east and from overseas, and she wanted to thank Chet especially for signing off to provide that opportunity for them. So.
You don't think Chet has a vested interest in that, do you?
Absolutely not.
Any other questions from the audience? Comments?
Ron, I'd like to add something. What we've heard in both these first 2 presentations is very exciting. And just to add some support, coming from the state of Oregon and spending a number of years up in a town about this size called Klamath Falls, the #1 university in the state for decades when it comes to job placement is not in Eugene or Corvallis or Portland, but is in Klamath Falls, the Oregon Institute of Technology or Oregon Technological Institute. And these are the same, I mean, they've been doing this for, as I say, decades. Many of their students get hired before they can graduate because the companies won't wait to compete for them when they've graduated. And this is the same type of programs that they have fostered to that level of success. So I thank you.
Okay, just for the sake of the information for the Board of Supervisors, there are a couple people, or three, that stayed with us in our strategic plan from the day one up until it was completed, and that's Kevin Edwards, a tremendous asset who is a doer and makes things happen. He got instrumental in getting our engineering program here, just outstanding. David Steiger, who was with us from day one, and Lupe, who's already been here. You know, hour after hour they spent getting this the strategic plan brought forward. So I want to extend a special thanks to them and let the Board of Supervisors know that. Okay, thank you.
Good. Very good. Thanks.
Okay, we'll go to agenda item number 7. It's the informational update on the partnership between the Adams Hub and the Carson City School District, including the new Entrepreneurials Network. And this is with Maya McKenzie, Jeff Glass, and Alden Goslin.
I believe I'm supposed to say for the record because that is what everyone else has been saying. So for the record, Maya McKenzie. I'm with the Hop and May Adams Foundation, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about a couple of initiatives that we have going on right now that really reach out into our community. And Tammy's driving for me because I'm not a Mac person. So for any of you, I think most of you are familiar with the Hop and May Adams Foundation. If you're not, it's a Carson City-based private foundation started by Hop and May Adams, who owned the Carson Nugget for decades here. And when May was in her late 90s and she was the last person in her family, she asked her advisors what they thought she should do with her fortune, and they suggested that she leave her money to the city of Carson City. And she said she loved that idea. So she started this foundation, the Hop and May Adams Foundation, and it exists to help enrich our community, make this a better place to live and grow up and grow your family as well. One thing that May did mandate, though, because she had been a child of the Depression, was she wanted to help the community by providing a hand up and not a handout. So as the sole employee of the foundation, I'm charged with trying to figure out ways to help people in a way that also is self-sustaining. So we have a few initiatives that I'm going to tell you about pretty quickly because I know it's getting late. One of the things we are working on right now, too, is doing a number of renovations to downtown buildings. The first building that we completed the renovation on, we then put a business incubator into, and it's called Adams Hub for Innovation. A business incubator is a place where startups can go. They get an office and everything is included, so they can start very economically. They have phones, Wi-Fi, we have fiber. We're the first AT&T fiber downtown, which is great. But most importantly, what these people get, why they want to work in an incubator, is there's a spirit of collaboration. All the different businesses talk and share and help each other out. And most importantly, also, each of the businesses that are located in our facility are given a team of mentors. And these are business people and professionals in our community who are volunteering their time to help work with these companies and help them be successful. Right now we have over 30 mentors. I have a few of them here in the audience. People have volunteered to be mentors. The city manager, Nick Moreno, the Mayor Kroll, Mike Jackson is one, as well as several other people. So this is great because what we're doing is helping entrepreneurs get started. If we do a good job, then we're constantly kicking out clients because they're going to get too big and they're going to need to move somewhere else in Carson City and provide jobs in Carson City. Our first startup that's in there right now, it's called Aware Systems. They're growing so quickly that they just hired their first CTO, Chief Technology Officer, yesterday. So it's happening. We're creating good jobs here in Carson, and we're very proud of that. The other initiative that we launched this fall was the new Entrepreneur Network, and this was in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of Western Nevada. And they approached us and asked us if we could help them get an entrepreneur club started for their club. And we started working on that, worked on a business plan and a model to make sense that would help, that we could invest some money in the original idea, and then the idea would be able to self-sustain itself through income that it generates. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, Jeff Glasswell. Okay, next one. These are just a couple of pictures. I've jumped ahead of my talk of Adams Hub. If you have not yet come to Adams Hub, we welcome you to come visit us. It's a 24/7 locked building. If you are a member, you get a card swipe, but we always have someone Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 at the front door, and we're happy to buzz you in. So we welcome you to come in and take a tour. And then the question was, why did we latch onto this idea of youth entrepreneurship? We believe fully in the idea of entrepreneurship and what it can do for a community. But we also believe that there are a lot of skills that are very important for youth to have that are what makes an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are inspired, engaged, dependable problem solvers. So the kind of people that you want in your community. And those are skills that you're born with, but they can be honed and improved as well. We also started doing research on youth entrepreneurship programs. What we found, and I have statistics, these come from the U.S. Department of Labor 2002. I don't know why those numbers aren't updated, but I'm sure the information is still correct. Youth who complete one entrepreneurship program in high school, so it's generally a 12-week program in high school, are more likely to graduate high school, they're more likely to go on to college, graduate college, and they will make more money in their career than youth who did not go to a 12-week entrepreneurship program in high school. So this is really staggering in my mind, and it speaks loudly for why all of our youth should be given the opportunity to learn about the skills that entrepreneurs have and to embody some of those skills. So the new Entrepreneur Network has 3 legs to it. There's the new e-curriculum, which is what teaching in the classroom, the regular classrooms. There's the new e-club, which right now is going to be an after-school program, and Jeff's going to talk more about that. And then there's the new e-business, and that's how we keep the program going. We're going to start businesses in Carson City, and we are going to continually self-sustain the program through the businesses that we're starting. Our executive director is Jeff Glass, and he joined us, I think it was in August. He is the person who helped me shape this vision, and then he took the vision, ran with it, made it more than I ever could have, and then he has created a groundswell of opportunity for youth entrepreneurship. And I'm very excited about what he's creating, and I'm going to let him tell you about it.
For the record, I'm Jeff Glass, Executive Director of the New Entrepreneur Network. I was reading a biography about John D. Rockefeller, and he was crediting his success to 2 major things. One was his disciplined faith, and the other was he took a 10-week business course when he was a young man. So we're hoping to turn out a few Rockefellers here. So Billy McHenry asked in his class, what's your big idea? He teaches a business course. And so today I'm going to share with you 1 mission, 2 stories, and I'll keep it to 10 minutes. But my big idea here in Carson City, I come from LA and San Jose. I went to high school in San Jose, went to Bellarmine, and went to Loyola Marymount in LA. And my big idea is to help shape the culture here for the youth and create an entrepreneurship culture. So we talked the other day about how all of us are entrepreneurs, and I agree, and I was going to add a few details to that. So the first story I'm going to share is a story I like to share in my classes. If you bear with me, I'm used to teaching with young students, but hopefully some of you could appreciate that. I mean as a compliment. So the first story is a story of the dead bears, and my wife and I discovered basically a year after being married that we had the same career ambition when we were young children, as we both wanted to be park rangers. Smokey the Bear visited my grade school, and he closed a deal. I was sold, and that was it. I wanted to be a park ranger, and I found my wife, coincidentally, wanted to be the same. So no plan. This was much to our surprise, and me being the entrepreneur and like to investigate things, I looked into what the job description was, even though I had other ambitions at the time, and found that there's very challenging parts of the job. And one of the most challenging parts were that all the dead bears that the rangers have to pick up every year. And if you're a nature lover or into wildlife, that sounds very devastating. And the bears would, you know, the park rangers would post signs, don't feed the bears, don't feed the bears, but sure enough, the campers would feed the bears, and the bears didn't die from an overdose of Oreos or diabetes because of Dr. Pepper. They passed away because of other reasons. So these bears have digestive systems like we do, perhaps even superior. So what happened? And I pose this question in my class and get the students to think. And it was that they were stripped of their instincts, their survival skills. And I'd read a study that my generation, I'm 36, is one of the first generations that doesn't know how to build our own shelter. So I started looking into this more and thinking with the students, what skills do we need to resurface? And I agree with Mayor Kroll that we are all entrepreneurs. And I looked into this a bit, and dictionary.com and Forbes magazine define an entrepreneur. And I like this definition. It said a person who manages or organizes any enterprise. They highlighted that term, they capitalized it, any. Entrepreneurs in the pure sense are those who identify a need and fill it. It is a primordial urge, independent of product, service, industry, or market. Entrepreneurship is instinctive. So I agree we are all entrepreneurs, but is it instinct? And are we instilling habits and teaching these children to be for it to be instinctive? I think it's what makes our country great, and I think it's something incredible to add to our education system for the children. So my second story I'll get into in a moment here, but some of the practical skills, I think we face two issues. For me, I'm a visioneer, as I say. It's kind of a made-up word, but I like it. And that we have to look at where we are before we really cast a vision of what we're going to do. So I believe in a firm reality check as a business owner. I own businesses today. I also work for Maya and the Hoppe May Foundation, so I'm very busy. I think we face two things in our community and nationwide at large, is we face two things with our youth, is a sense of entitlement and also a group of hopelessness. And I'll talk actually about the group of hopelessness first. I was listening to a radio show, and there was some sort of challenge to call in, and if you got the answer correct, you would win something. Kind of a depressing story, but basically they asked the group ARP, it was a group of senior citizens, asked them what was their worst childhood memory, and people would call in, you know, alcoholism, father left, and 73% said this answer. They said not watching their parents live out what they were meant to do, which I didn't really believe when I was 19 years old. So, but the more I thought about it and went through life as I got older, the more I realized that it made sense. And I tell this story often because I think it really talks about what shapes our generation, is that our ambassadors as children are our parents. We're supposed to learn skills and be inspired by them, also our teachers. And when the parents don't live out what they're supposed to do, what message are they giving to the children? And they're giving them the kids are seeing their parents give up or not live out their dream or whatever their goal was. Perhaps they were an entrepreneur with an unrealized dream. So I think this has created a generation of hopelessness amongst a lot of our kids, which we're running into. Kids feel non-deserving or, wow, I could do that. We were talking to a group of kids and we're talking about career options. And one kid says, wait, I could be a writer and that's a real career? Sure. Kennedy was a writer before he was president. It could be a real career. So we're helping open the eyes, when I talk to Mr. Swarzik, is we see entrepreneurship as a way to look at the world a little differently. And that's a challenge to these kids, and I'll get into a couple examples. But how can they look at their world differently? So, entitlement. I had someone working for me from UNR, 4.0 student, excellent, great worker, great resume, but he was extremely entitled. He doesn't work for me anymore. It's not a coincidence. So education alone or feeling you have all the skills is not necessarily what's going to get you that job or that career. So we work a lot to focus on, I'll tell my students, because I've hired and I've fired and I've laid people off, I've said, does a college degree, do you think that gets you a job? And I said, I've never hired somebody once because they have a college degree. It's got you the first interview, but the second interview is what we focus on. What are the skills? What is the character behind somebody? What is the attitude? And these are the type of things we're teaching these students. Entrepreneurship is not easy either. It's hard work. That's another thing we're teaching as well. I had this idea, and I wanted to come in, and with the teachers that have been so kind to invite me into their classrooms, I took the approach that I'm on your team. I'm not looking for you to be on mine. So they, very nice, gracious with me, invited me to come in and teach. And I had this vision as an entrepreneur about how important the education system is. Now, it took me 4.5 years to graduate college. Should have taken 4 if I didn't despise history so much. So I put it off as long as I could, so the last 3 classes I had to finish had something to do with history. So I started out teaching one time of who here has taken a class that they absolutely despise or hate, and I asked the kids to be honest, and everybody, and I think Mr. Gosling raised his hand twice. We've all taken classes maybe at some time because, of course, when we're 15, 16, we have our world figured out. And so I said, I was talking to a principal over at Eagle Valley, and we came up with an idea. Why don't we put this to practice and see if we can turn some thinking around? So we went into the history classes and taught through entrepreneurs, meaning I'm teaching about famous entrepreneurs in history, and asked the students and asked the teacher not to lower their grade or anything, but who here thinks history has nothing to do with your future or your life or doesn't see the importance in it? We had 20 to 33%, almost a third at times, raise their hand and say, I don't see the relevance of history to my life. We've now taught only 8 classes, but at the end of each class, I ask the same question, and 0 hands have gone up. So what we're trying to see is not only the value of entrepreneurship, but try to teach at large the value of education and how that has applicability in their life. So if we could measure any small success, I believe that's been one of the greatest things so far, is opening these kids' eyes, then the students, which I'll get into in a moment, the things that they've seen as value as well. So we've launched the new Entrepreneurship Club, and we had 175 students express interest at Carson High School in joining the club. We had 70 students exactly that joined the club, and it's an after-school program. And as we heard last night, sometimes that's a hard time to capture because they've had school all day or they have other activities. And we have another 80 students that are still interested, 80 students plus, that are still interested in being part of the program. So the interest is there. And so we've launched at Pioneer High School, at the Boys and Girls Club. The Juvenile Probation Department's been very exciting. We were approached by the Juvenile Probation Department and the judges they asked us, and we've been very humbled by it. They said, will you put together a program that our probation kids have to go through so they can learn about the business world a bit before they go back out in the world? And we said, absolutely. So we teamed up with another teacher, Jordan Rowbottom from Pioneer High School, and we start teaching that program this month. So in the club, the kids, it's a 13-week experience, and they get to learn about entrepreneurship. Again, we're not just teaching business, but we're opening the lens of how to look at the business world, look at life, and giving the kids a challenge of what most entrepreneurs, and I found being a history buff now, not that I was when I was a kid, found that most entrepreneurs actually are not seeking out to develop a business. Most entrepreneurs, if you read in history, sought to change their world. So I've challenged these kids to do the same. And the answers have been amazing. And we had the kids fill out a form, and these kids have gone from everything. So we asked them, why join the Entrepreneur Network? Why are you here? Everything from, I can't see a good reason not to I want to open up a business that can fund a clinic to cure childhood cancer. I want to change my world. I want to impact my family. And it's just amazing reading these. And it's not, there are those that want to start a business or want to get certified in entrepreneurship, which we do after the 13 weeks. But these kids are excited to share how they want to impact Carson City. And I see Entrepreneur Network as an avenue to be able to do that. So where I come from in LA, San Jose, which are just slightly larger cities than here, I go around and the movie theater, the coffee shop, and there's people that are age 16 to 21 working there. And I go around here in Carson City. Sometimes they're that age, but often they're my age or even older. And this is not an ageism comment, and I applaud those people that can get those jobs and the employers that seek the best talent. But what about our youth? How is it like for them out there trying to get that first job? And Maya and I have talked about that first job is not just about employment. It's a stitch that's so important in their education system as an entrepreneur. I've had a lot of small jobs and jobs along the way. This is my favorite job by far. But those jobs that we took when we were young, how much did they teach us as we grow up to be entrepreneurs? So we have the education system, but education for applicability is really our vision. And I see teaching these kids, and we're certifying them in entrepreneurship as they graduate. But can we help them go to market? Can we help them get a job? And we're creating businesses that give them the opportunity to do that. The kids I'm training are the very kids that I'm looking to employ. And it's really exciting. And the most exciting part of it is that there was a buzz that started. And the buzz is my friends, my peer group, is other entrepreneurs, other business owners, because that's my culture, that's who I am. They said, we want to look at your graduates. We would like to look at your students after they graduate the curriculum for hire. So, in closing, I thank you for the opportunity for this program. Working with the kids has been an amazing experience, and I want to give special thanks to our teachers like Billy McHenry and Angela Golick and other teachers at Carson High School. You have awesome, awesome teachers, and them, along with Mr. Alan Gosling, have really made this possible. So, thank you.
Alan, did you want to speak or say a few words?
I'm not going to follow that, but I think we should hear from Billy McHenry, the business teacher.
All right. How's it going? Billy McHenry, Renee. I can tell you, I've been teaching for 25 years. I was an elementary school teacher first. I got a business degree in 1987 because I went to college to play football, and they told me I had to study too, so I went ahead and got a degree in something, and it happened to be business. My dad told me that's a good all-around thing to major in. And then when I became a teacher, the guy told me, all right, well, you got a business degree, forget that, because all you'll ever teach is typing. And there's one job in the school. So I'd been teaching for 25 years, either elementary school or math, when Ron Beck, our former principal, told me that they needed a business teacher to replace Betty Forrester. And I said, no thanks, I like what I'm doing. He said, well, I wasn't really asking. And that's when I found out that though I was guaranteed a job, I wasn't guaranteed the job I wanted. And so he told me, just suck it up, man, and do it for a year for me. Help me out. You only have to do it half-time. It's 3 classes. You'll still have 3 math classes. So I did it. This was not this year, but the year before. Last year, I did it. And halfway through the year, I went down to Mr. Beck's office, and I said, can I do this full-time? I don't want to teach math anymore, because the difference in the students and the passion, you know, nothing against, it's been great having Jeff and the new Entrepreneur Club, but the passion for business and meaningful education, and again, like I tell them, you know, you are going to use math and English and all those things are important, so the math teachers don't get mad at me, but just seeing the difference in the students in those first few weeks that I was teaching the business courses, from years of teaching math in elementary school and what it meant to them, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is a lot more fun. It's not like pulling teeth to get them to do math. They were dying to do it, and they were hungry to learn what we wanted to learn. So Mr. Beck worked it out that, you know, much to the math department's dismay, that they were losing another math teacher, and that he told me if I could get enough kids to fill 6 classes, that I could do it full time. Well, I'm also the freshman football coach, so right there I got about 75 guys I immediately can get in my class. Which, by the way, the one kid that made the video, he also had 6 interceptions in 8 games, by the way, that made that first video. He's a heck of a little football player. But I digress. But the passion was there immediately for him, and we were we had 180 kids sign up for business classes this year. You know, we only had 3 business classes for years. And I, you know, again, not knowing anything about business or entrepreneurship or any of these things these guys do, just telling them, hey, it's interesting, it's fun, you'll learn about money, you'll learn. 180 kids signed up. We had to turn 30 kids away from my classes this year. We had to tell 30 kids, no, you can't do this because we only have 6 business classes, which, by the way, I'd be happy for you to buy out my prep, Mr. Stokes, and work that 7th period. And I'll tell you, the problem we have moving ahead is we can't meet the demand with one business teacher at the high school. We can't meet the demand with what we got because to do the things we want to do and offer the college credits to the kids, you know, I could teach 6, I could fill my whole schedule with the first year class. And what do we tell the kids? You can't take the second year class, or you have to come after school, which is obviously a great option, but a much better option would be is we could offer it during the day. And then all the things like I saw Western Nevada College and question marks, all those question marks would be erased. So the community has been amazing. You know, I almost don't even teach anymore. I have community people, Mike Saloga from the Brick, Renee Plain, I mean, just on and on. I literally, the kids going, hey, Mr. McHenry, who's coming to teach our class today? You know, so the community support has been outstanding, and it's just been great. These guys have been great, and I just encourage everybody to help them in any way they can and keep fostering this spirit of entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Well, Jeff and Maya, well, first of all, are there any comments from the board, either board? You know, I'll just say I went to the high school to observe Jeff talk to a class. I did it outside, just looking through the window, just to see what the reaction of the kids. Were they engaged, or was this something else? They were all engaged. They just wanted more because of the way he was presenting of how through this program, it ties everything together, whether it's English, science, math. He did it in a way that demonstrated the value of education. And I know Trustee Reynolds always wants to know, you know, about the value of education and why people don't appreciate that. Well, Jeff was bringing that to these kids in a short period of time. And I can just imagine going forward how it ties everything together. So you know, just speaking for the Board of Trustees, thank Maya and Jeff, Billy McHenry, just for putting this together and carrying it forward. One more wonderful community partnership that has an impact on students, teachers, and beyond. So thank you.
Well, let me echo that on our side as well, because I think, you know, there's no getting around. It's been a long day. I mean, for all of us, it's been a long day. But the enthusiasm that we see tonight and what's happening tonight in our community, you know, really caps off a great day. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes us proud to be here, proud to be in this community. So, you know, it may be a long day, but this is what community work is about. This is about pride in our community. And so my hat's off to everybody. I mean, you know, we are tremendously fortunate to have the Hoppin May Adams Foundation here. I know it got off to a rocky start because nobody could believe that something like this could ever happen. You know, I was one of them. You know, come on, casinos owned by somebody that's going to give money back? Come on, you know, who does that? But now we're seeing the value of that happening, and so I think, you know, and you'll see some comments of me in a newspaper that say, you know, now it's up to us, the community members, the elected officials, community members, to get behind these things and to make sure that, I don't know who it was that said, you know, we got a lot of plates spinning out here. Was that you, Alan? Mm-hmm. You know, the trick is to make sure that all those plates keep spinning. And we try to hopefully they go to the same speed. You know, so, you know, I think I'm speaking on behalf of all of our board, that, you know, it's good stuff. And I'm glad we're doing this tonight. So thanks.
Thank you. Any comments? Michelle Lewis.
Good evening. I'm going to keep this very, very quick. Michelle Lewis, for the record. I wanted to just thank Jeff and Maya and the Adams Hub, and also Alan, and especially Billy. Because of this partnership and their work, we are changing our business pathway to be an entrepreneurship pathway. As you know, we've gone to career pathways in all of our programs, a sequence of courses. So we are changing from a marketing pathway to an entrepreneurship pathway. What's wonderful about this is that all of our career and technical programs and all of our academic programs at the high school will somehow be able to interface with an entrepreneurship program. So I just wanted to thank them publicly for all of their work.
Thanks, Michelle. It's all great. Okay, we're going to go on to agenda item number 8. It's an informational update on the Carson City Schools Foundation. And this item ties all of this together. So I have Richard Stokes and Ian Hill come to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, members of the combined board, staff, Richard Stokes, Superintendent, Carson City School District. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. And Mr. Mayor, I would just like to say that based on everything that we've heard tonight, Carson City is in good hands. Very, very exciting. I'd like to begin my remarks just by giving you a little bit of history. In 2003, our board created a school district foundation. Timing wasn't quite right for that thing to bloom and to grow, and really the vision wasn't there either. There was a proposal that was made that was really based on one project. Now, in 2015, times have changed considerably. We have, as you've seen, maybe more of an entrepreneurial spirit associated with Carson City School District. And probably more importantly, we have a strategic plan that has given us direction that will help drive some of the goals and the objectives and the strategies that our community has told us as a school district are important to them. So we have now a full-blown, very high-visioned activity and outcome represented by our board, who have taken some courageous steps to let go of this and turn over the activities to some very highly talented and committed members of our community. And I'd like to introduce the directors of our foundation. Several are here this evening. Have Mr. Mike Jackson, who I don't know how he sleeps. He has been named on every activity and board that has been mentioned tonight. But Mike, of course, is president of Micro Manipulator and really brings a tremendous skill level to our meetings. We also have with us Mr. Britt Lewis, who is a young entrepreneur in his own right, working for Aboud and Rose Financial, and he brings youth and insight and connections to alumni and really some great skill and talent with regard to marketing and business. And so, Britt, thank you also for your efforts. We also have, as a member of our board, Heidi McFadden, who unfortunately is not here tonight, but she's a realtor here in town, has a student in our schools, and has been of great help. And we also have, who's also not here, Mr. Tom Keaton, who's been ill recently, but has also contributed nicely. For a little bit more about the operational part of our foundation and what we're trying to accomplish, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ian Hill, who is our chairman. Mr. Hill, I first met when he was a parent of students who were attending Seeliger Elementary. I think he was fairly new to the area, stepped right up and became a PTA president, not often seen in an elementary school. And he has made his philanthropy known throughout our school district and has been engaged in some extremely worthwhile projects. And so really happy to have Ian as our chairman, and he is really someone that we all respect highly and look to for direction and guidance and leadership. So Ian, if I could turn the podium over to you.
Good evening.
That sucked. Good evening. Thank you. I know you're asleep by this point, but come on. Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, and members of both the Board of Supervisors and Trustees, my name is Ian Hill, for the record, the chairperson of the I guess it's not newly, the relaunched Carson City School Foundation. It was interesting to me as I was listening to all of the presentations. They had a couple common themes. One, marshaling of human capital. The marshaling of the capital of a community. Secondly, alignment. And all of you are to be commended. This is an alignment dialogue. How do we get the formal leaders of the community aligned? Everyone else in the community won't get aligned if the formal leaders of the community are not aligned. And so you're to be commended for the alignment steps that you're taking. And then finally, the building of the citizen of tomorrow. I'm not a very educated man. All of you in the room, more educated than me. I barely graduated from high school. People always ask me, and I go to college, I say, yep, I went through there on my way to work every day. So not very educated. But when I do an exploration of history and you look at the 5 great societies, Elizabethan England, Louis France, and Periclean Athens, there was one common theme, the building of the citizen of tomorrow. There was enlightenment that occurred. There was an emerging thought and practice of developing people, both spiritually and emotionally and mentally. And as I sat in the back of the room and I listened to all of the amazing things that are happening, I thought to myself, is this the Athens of the 21st century right here in the Sierras? Is there potential for an alignment to occur that would be unique and different? I think you're right, Richard, something special. You know, times have changed. Just this meeting is evidence of that. And this foundation is not about raising money. It's about how do we get all of the different sectors, all of the different silos, all of the different little hills and the little fiefdoms and the little flags. You all know what I'm talking about right now. How do we get all of those people around one common goal? Build the citizen of tomorrow. And how do we ensure that that citizen has the attributes, the qualities necessary to fulfill our economic vision? How do we make sure that all of those citizens are not just prepared for a 21st century economy, but our 21st century economy and what's going to be the wind in our sails? I've been fortunate enough to do projects in, I think I counted it before I came here, 383 communities across North America in the last 6 years, sitting in front of groups just like this. I won't invest my money where there's not alignment because it's going to be a wreck. It'll be a train wreck. I'll waste my money. But where there's alignment, people want to do business. Well, and then what's the next step? Do they have an all-out commitment to the development of the citizen of tomorrow? And is it demonstrated? How much money, time, and energy are all citizenry from all those different sectors and silos putting into the development of the citizen of tomorrow? That tells you something about a community. And with all due respect to the formal leaders in the room, this next comment is to the informal leaders in the room. I'm an informal leader. You're the formal leaders. I'm an informal leader. And it's not your job to build me a town. It's my job. The last 27 years I've been here in Nevada, and I got to sit at the feet of the people that built this state. And they told me something over and over again. It's not the politician's job to build you a town. It's your job. So the one thing that I know is that when informal leaders of a community align around the common goal of building the citizen of tomorrow and are willing to put in time, talent, and treasure, something spectacular happens. With all that as a backdrop, this foundation. So when you think foundation, you think of, well, college and alumni. You think hospitals. Well, it's neither of those. This is about being a catalyst for the alignment of the community around the development of the citizen of tomorrow, and ensuring that the resources are available so that the people, the incredible people of the Carson City School District can work their phenomenal work. Is that about money? I think to some degree. I'm proud to say that we've set a goal of $200,000 in the first 12 months. We announced yesterday at 10. We are now at 8 o'clock the next day, and I can tell you we've raised $27,500. Oh, you all better start clapping about that right now. That's all I got to say. And that's to the credit of just some people that understand, early adapters who get it and are willing to step up. And I'll be coming and talking to all of you, I'm sure, in the next week or so.
I heard already.
That's right. Mayor he's already in. He was in yesterday at 10:02, he was in. But more than your money, it's about building trusting relationships. People don't give to projects, they give to people. And it's about building trusting relationships with all those different sectors and silos in the community. So we want to take a tailored approach. If you have a burning desire to see something happen in the schools, we want to sit down and talk with you, because we can be the vehicle to fund that burning desire. You know, Mike is so involved in the community and doing so many innovative things, and through Mike's vision, this idea of funding a stream of education for career development. And we're going to start in the manufacturing sector, where manufacturers put up a little bit of money, a little bit of coin each month, maybe $200, $300, $400. And so far, we've gotten 3 that have agreed to put in $300 a month to fund a stream of education. We'll use that as a lighthouse, a demonstration, if you will, how other business sectors in the community could invest in their future employees, could invest in who they're going to hire, and create a stream for the healthcare industry, or stream for the digital media industry. And we put a little bit of money in, and we get back quality employees. So we want to tailor to what people have a burning desire to do. Maybe you have a burning desire to have a second language available in the elementary schools. Well, we'll work with you to make that happen. This next comment, and it'll be my final comment, might sound demonstrative, and I don't mean to. History will judge us. You're right, Richard. I've only lived here a short period of time. And the only reason I live here is because my mother-in-law lives here. I mean, that was my thinking a couple years ago, that Gina's mom lives here, and so we're going to live here. I own a company in Canada. What the hell am I doing living here? But as I've gotten to know the community, as mayor, as you just said, there's special things happening here. There's something incredible happening here. The stars are aligning. But history will judge us with what we do with that opportunity. I know I can't sit on the sideline and sit idly by and watch that opportunity pass by, because I'll be judged. I know Britt feels the same way. I know Heidi feels the same way. I know Mike feels the same way. I know Tom feels the same way. So for us, this is a mission. This isn't about money. It's about building trusting relationships, aligning all of the different sectors and silos in the community around building this citizen of tomorrow, so we can build a community that all would want to live in, and that I believe could be the Athens of the 21st century, right here at the base of the Sierras. Thanks for your time.
Any comments from any board members, supervisors, trustees? Brad.
I'd like to just comment. Ian and I know each other, and we've worked together, and I got to say that he's one of the most motivational people that I know, and I'm just glad that he's in our community helping us.
I think Ben Conteen said it best last night at the Community PLC. He says anytime you ever hear Ian Hill talk, you want to run through a brick wall and just get everything done you possibly can. And we are so grateful that he has taken the head, and the other board members have just come alive too. It's just amazing to see the activity. And the first meeting I ever went to, and it was like, boom, boom, boom. It's not one of these committees you go, well, somebody's going to do this, somebody's going to do that. No, you did it now, you're doing it, da-da-da-da-da. It's on, and so we are grateful, and Carson City students will be better for it.
Well, as president of the school board, Ian, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing in moving not only our kids, but this community forward. When you say aligning, perfect. And now, I'd like to give the opportunity to Mike and Brett too. Would you like to say a few words about, as business people, about this foundation and moving forward? I know it's a hard act to follow with Ian, but you might want to say a few words.
Me, let me tell you that right.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Britt Lewis, Secretary for the board. Thank you very much for having us on the agenda tonight. We very much so appreciate it. After sitting here in hearing some of these people speak tonight, Carson City is on the verge of something great. They truly are. And I'm not just talking about the basketball win. It's remarkable to be a part of this. And as an alumni of class of 2007, I wish I had these opportunities. And that's what I want to give back to the community are these opportunities. Before I pass on to Mike Jackson, I wanted to throw up the website. Could we possibly get it up? If I... Great. I think I can figure this out. I'm not a Mac guy, but...
You're a Carson High grad, man. You can do
Exactly. ccschoolsfoundation.org will be our website. And to be honest, I have not tested this on a Mac, so let's hope it works. But a little bit of how to navigate the website. So I do have the Empower Carson City 2017 document on here. And what I did is I summarized it a little bit. As many of you have seen, that document is about 20 pages long. And so we wanted to break it down for the community and make it easier to understand. So if you see here, the goals of Carson City, Empower Carson City 2017 are listed with just key summaries of what they are. And if you actually go to the bottom of the action plans, you'll notice that explore the formation of a nonprofit corporation to work in conjunction with parents, community, and the school district is listed. Now we have a link to the document. I won't pull that up now, but as Ian mentioned, we are all about alignment, and this is the ideal example of alignment, and that is what this action plan is doing, and that's what we are doing here. So again, I greatly appreciate us being on the agenda tonight. Thank you very much.
Mike?
And there's a link to contribute.
Okay, just Mike Jackson, micromanipulator. Let me just say that the manufacturers I've talked to about the foundation are real excited about it, because with all the workforce development, the education initiatives going on at even the high school and on into the community college level, one question that's been unanswered is, how do you develop essentially the feeder pool to get kids interested, show them the opportunities that may exist for them, to have them eventually move into those programs and take advantage of them. And that's one of the things we can do in the foundation. Certainly what Ian talks about is aligning things, and I think that that's the thing that drew me to the foundation, which I'm so excited about. And the only other thing I'll say is, you asked the question about whether or not we'd find out whether you're listening to the manufacturers, or whether you listen to us. You know, after a couple of years ago, you said, well, I said, please listen to us, and you said, did we listen? Well, I can tell you that the answer to that is no, okay? Because I only say that because we're not done talking yet. And so the active thing is, you're still listening to us, and we still have a lot to say, I hope. So thank you.
Any other comments? Board comments? Anyone? Joe?
You know, it's inspiring to sit here, and this is a great meeting tonight. And the last time we came together, it was equally as good. And to be an adult and to be inspired, I think sometimes is easier. I mean, you know, we all have our experiences. You know, we've done different things, but we come together in a room like this, and we make these things happen. But I have the chance, I'm around a lot of kids through soccer, through track, through a variety of things. And when you talk to the kids at the high school and even the middle and elementary schools, and they know these things are happening, that's what's telling me we're doing something right. You know, and as a coach, and I talk to coaches, in fact, we had a conversation today with the high school track coach, it's hard to get these kids sometimes, especially early in the season, to show up all the time. And when I was a kid, we didn't show up all the time because we were doing things we probably shouldn't be doing. But these kids now are, you know, I talked to a kid, hey, we didn't see you last week. Well, that's because, gee, sorry, coach, but I'm involved in FBLA, I'm involved in psychology club, I'm in the Key Club. Somebody might be involved in the, after-school entrepreneurships. These kids are so incredibly involved. And the fact that all of us and all of you are coming together to make sure that we're setting these kids up for success in the future is just amazing to me. And I really appreciate everybody being involved in this. And I think these kids, while they don't always have the courage to have a voice in a public forum, they really appreciate it too. And so I just want to say thank you.
Anyone else?
Nice try, Bob.
It's a presentation on the fiscal impact. It's a presentation on the fiscal impact due to economic and business growth in the region. And Andrew Fueling, who is the Carson City School District's Finance Director.
Try to be last.
Oh, is it? Sorry. This one? Oh, there we go. Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having me here, supervisors and Mr. Mayor and my trustees I know all too well now. I feel thrice disadvantaged coming up here. Not only am I the last presentation on what sounds like a long evening for the supervisors and the city folks, this last presentation is on economic data, which is always scintillating. And I got to follow these wonderful guys from the foundation that are just so inspirational. So I don't know that I can live up to what they did, but I'll try to make it as interesting and as palatable as possible. Of course, Tesla's been in the news, and we've talked about it quite a bit tonight. I recently went to a presentation up at the offices for NV Energy, where they had two folks who are really involved in studying economics, one from the University of Nevada, one from an economic consulting firm up in Reno, to speak about what they see as the impact coming with Tesla moving into the area. A good deal of it was forecasting, the forecasted impact. And I just want to be clear with you, when we're looking at forecasting these types of things, there's no guarantees. I could pretty accurately, I think, forecast what is going to be the average height and weight of everyone in Carson City 5 years from now. Those are averages. But when you're talking about so many variables that impact the economics, it gets a little more complicated. So please don't hold me to some of these numbers, as again, they are best guesses as to what is happening. The second thing, this information, most of it is not original to me. I did not do all the research on this. I think if my boss knew that I was spending all my time researching Tesla, he'd probably tell me to go find a job with Tesla very soon. So about a month ago, this presentation up at NV Energy, it was given by Brian Bonifant, who is a professor of Center for Regional Studies at the University of Nevada, and then Eugenia Larmore from AK Economic Consultants. So I want to make sure that they get credit for a lot of this information. I did very little, just kind of in setting this up, along with some other locations. So first, just a real quick review. I know you've all heard a lot about Tesla, but this is directly from Tesla's website, and I have a couple things from there, but what the Gigafactory apparently will look like, and their goal to have a net zero energy facility. Essentially, any energy that they need to use, they would be generating on-site themselves, which is pretty impressive. You can see the solar array on the roof and off in the distance. I don't know if I have... I don't know if I have a pointer, but there's some windmills off, wind turbines off to the center right. Just for some perspective, how big is that gigafactory? Well, it's awfully big. The Dallas Cowboys Stadium could probably fit in there about 7 times. They actually have a banana on there. There is actually a spot, if you could see the high res of this. That must be one big banana, though. Comparatively, I don't know that does justice to it. But you can see the Tesla Gigafactory is quite a large facility. This is from their website as well. And these beginning stages, which we are already kind of well into, facility construction has already started. By 2016, they expect to have equipment being installed. And by 2017, they expect to have production beginning with full ramp up by 2020, which is what this is. The actual facility, 5 to 6 million square feet, which is large. So they plan to create, once they are fully ramped up, or produce about 500,000 battery packs per year for cars. By doing this, the efficiencies they'll create will decrease costs by about 30%. And they're hoping to have a mass market electric car that they can offer for about $35,000 once they have that production up and running. And it was mentioned earlier tonight that, if they are creating this massive line of production, that possibly jobs would move from Fremont, California now maybe over into Nevada, which would be outstanding. This production, when you look at the international production, global production of current battery packs for cars, it is less than 500,000. So when this is fully ramped up by 2020, it will literally double the global production as it is, therefore creating those efficiencies and being able to drop those prices on electric cars to that $35,000 range. They have the right to purchase an additional 9,000 acres, which 7,000 they're planning to expand that wind farm, again, the net zero energy goal. And the other thing which is of interest, I know to Carson, is this USA Parkway getting punched through. The expected timeline for that to be finished is December of 2017, and the state will be covering that cost, which is expected to be about $70 million. So when you're looking at the construction piece of the Gigafactory, the number of jobs that is anticipated to generate is on average annually about 4,500 jobs. Currently in northern Nevada, northwestern Nevada, as of the second quarter of 2014, there are about 13,915 jobs in construction. So by itself, on average annually, Tesla will be increasing construction jobs by about 33%, which is a pretty significant impact. Equipment installation, so this is over a longer period of time of 13 years, but on average, the economic impact, there's jobs associated with this, but the economic impact of about $153 million per year. And to put that in context of what taxable sales are actually happening in northern Nevada, that $153 million on average per year, the total taxable sales in 2014 for northern Nevada were about 8.2 million. So by itself, that equipment installation bumps up total sales by about almost 2%, just that equipment installation happening. When you look at the jobs that will actually be at the Gigafactory, the number that generally is thrown around is about 6,500 jobs. And you look at what is being built there and what was needed to support that. There are suppliers, there's distribution. There's a multiplier they use to figure out, well, what is going to be kind of the net effect then? Because there's all these other industries that are businesses that will grow around it. And so using a national multiplier, they come up with about 22,000 extra jobs. Using a most likely multiplier, which the guy from University of Nevada recommended as you were looking at this, was a little bit lower. And it was based on what the types of industries that Tesla is bringing in, or what kind of makes up Tesla, what's going to be happening at that Gigafactory. What was interesting is that and I apologize, this is hard to see up on the screen. You have it in front of you. But the 4 primary industries that Tesla essentially brings to Northern Nevada, they don't exist here. So these are really creating new and exciting opportunities for our students and for our people to find jobs. So what these are supposed to show you is looking at the total job, all the different jobs we have in this area between Washoe, Lyon, and Carson City, and then how many people of the total employment, how many people are in certain industries, and getting like a percentage, or are 1% of our people in storage and battery manufacturing of our total employment in Carson. So between Washoe, Lyon, and Carson, there is nobody employed in these industries currently. When you get into some of these other areas and you talk about, what is going to be that indirect impact, the indirect jobs, and that's where it gets interesting when you look at, so like say Carson City, for that first step down has a 0.51, and that goes across into wholesale trade businesses. So what that means is that if you look at the national average of communities, of economics, what they call metropolitan statistical areas, what percentage of the folks within that area, of all the folks who have a job, what percentage of them do jobs in this area? So what that tells us is that Carson is about half what other communities of a similar size would be. So it gives you an idea of where there may possibly be some opportunities for folks coming into Carson, where if it is going to grow and Northern Nevada is going to grow, that maybe there'll be opportunities to start businesses related to some of these fields. Particularly, there's a couple that have very little representation in Reno or Lyon or Carson. And those, the big ones were management of scientific and consulting services, and monetary authorities and depository credit intermediation. Those are categories as determined by, I believe, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I don't exactly know what falls into those categories. I have an idea, but it'd be something that we could research further if there was interest. So what kind of construction, residential construction, is likely to come with this growth? And so one of the statistics they look at is when you have new jobs, on average, how many new homes come with, in relation to how many new jobs have been created. And what's hard about that is if you look at the last several years, it's been really volatile. We've been through some amazing swings with the economy. But if you look at, in the blue, 1991 to 1998, that 0.48 number, that 0.51 number, basically for every new job created, you have half a home built, or maybe more appropriately, for every 2 new jobs created, there's usually about 1 home built in the area. So when you have what's expected to be about 49,000 new jobs in Northern Nevada, and that's the impact of Tesla and other businesses, according to EDAWN, which is Economic Development of Western Nevada. I can't remember what the A stands for. But basically about 50,000 new jobs in the area. So you would expect about 25,000 new homes being built. That's a pretty significant number. So what Mr. Bonifant gave was a low-end estimate and a high-end estimate. And on the low end, it was about 24,600 homes. On the high end, it was almost 40,000 homes. When you look at what has already been approved but unbuilt, in Washoe, it's about 29,800 residential units. Along the Highway 50 corridor, 15,668. So there's a lot of approved opportunities to build residential units, single-family homes that just haven't happened yet. So this can get moving fairly quickly as this comes along. The estimates for demand on square footage for business purposes, I'm not going to read all the numbers to you, but they're all fairly large for commercial square footage, office square footage, and industrial square footage. So that again is due to that kind of, not only is it Tesla's growth, but then the indirect growth that comes with that. For local taxes, Story County will be receiving most of the sales tax revenue. When the property tax abatement ends, they will receive all of that tax benefit as well. What's interesting, though, is that they don't feel that the population of Story County actually will be affected much by this. And I don't know much. I'm relatively new to Nevada. I don't know much about Story County, but they just, for whatever reason, they don't think many people will actually end up living there. They'll live in other places. So they're looking at these percentages of where folks who live in Story County, where they live, and only 7% of them live there. 4% live in Carson, and then many more in Washoe and Lyon, but there is a percentage that is here in Carson. So then when they estimate what is actually going to be the population impact from Tesla moving in here, for Carson City, or you can see for Story, it's zero. They don't estimate anybody will live there, which seems kind of hard to believe, but I suppose they know more than I do. But then looking at Carson City in total between the direct and indirect impact, it's about 1,750 new residents and about 650 new households. They average a little more than 2 people per household is what they estimate. So that's significant growth that would happen over a pretty short period of time. When you're looking at the job growth itself, what's estimated by 2019 is 25,000 more jobs than the employment peak, which in 2007. So the highest number of employed people in Northern Nevada was in 2007. They're expecting it to be higher than that. When looking at unemployment rates, so what's considered a natural, or sometimes you'll hear referred to as full employment, is an unemployment rate of 4%. So that's a point where you don't have unemployment from a downward economic cycle. You have some unemployment from people who may not have the right skills for their job, and they need to improve their skills for their job. And you have people who are moving between jobs, and that's all okay. That's a good level of unemployment. You don't want unemployment to be zero. You want some, because you want people moving to jobs that are better for them. Current U.S. unemployment rate, 5.6%. Nevada's unemployment rate is 6.8%. The Reno-Sparks Metropolitan Statistical Area, MSA, which we are a part of, is 6.2%. The lowest unemployment rate in this region historically was in 1999 before the dot-com bubble burst at 2.7%. That's actually really low. You don't really want it that low. So, sorry, I should have been flipping here. Currently, in the 6-county Northwest Nevada region, there's about 19,900 folks unemployed. So that 6.2% rate in the area translates into about that many folks who are unemployed. It seems like a low number in a way, but what you have to remember with unemployment is it's not the number of people who don't have a job. Unemployment is people who are over the age of 16 that are actively looking for employment, but they can't find it. And so that is a little bit different. If you're over the age of 65, you're not included. Even if you're looking for a job, you're not included. So there's some quirks to that definition. Looking just at Reno-Sparks, there's 13,800 unemployed. As of December of 14, that's the latest number they have. And now there are going to be 45,000 jobs to fill. So even if every unemployed person got a job, there's still going to have to be more people coming in to fill those jobs. Changes in residential growth, demographic change. So Nevada had a huge boom. Northern Nevada had a huge boom of growth from 2000 to 2005, adding 63,000 residents. Most of them were 65 and older in age, which brought an increased demand for health care, which makes sense if you have an older population. What they are projecting for the next 5 years is at least 38,000 more people moving to the area, but generally a younger population to middle-aged population, likely having school-aged children. And instead of an increased demand in healthcare, increased demand for parks, public services, and overall just skilled labor will be needed. So with all that growth, the public sector has taken a large hit over the last 8 years. So from 2007 to 2015, for example, and I don't have the number for Carson, so I apologize, but Washoe County went from about 3,200 employees in their public sector down to about 2,500. Reno itself went from about 1,800 down to about 1,200. So as times got tough, the public sector jobs got cut that provide a lot of the public services that we need. But now with this growth, again, that's going to be a real tough spot is, how are municipalities going to deal with this? So the types of things that will show the greatest types of needs is really everything that all of you worry about and think about probably on a daily basis. But in general, everything. And the expenditure demands to increase those is going to be huge because of that population boom coming. As far as students, they're expecting an increase of about 3,500 kids in the Washoe County School District. They did not give a number for Carson City, but based on the multiplier that they were using, it's about 249 students additional to the district that we would expect. Again, don't hold me to that. That's an estimate, way off. Also, as an impact to schools, TESOL will be contributing $37.5 million to an educational gift fund. I don't know a lot about that or what that entails just yet, but I'm sure we will be finding out soon. As an impact on wages, the average wage in Northern Nevada is $20.67 an hour. Direct TESOL employees are expected to make $27.35 an hour. Indirect employees, $25.16 an hour. So with those increased wages, there should be more spending coming along with that, which should lead to increased sales taxes, which would be good for revenues for the state. There will be obvious competition for TESOL-related jobs if they're paying more than the average wage otherwise in the area. What's interesting about that, though, is because there are so few people who actually are unemployed that are looking for work, that it essentially becomes a competition for all these businesses that are going to grow to compete for those few individuals. And what that, in economic theory, should do, the increased demand, it should drive their wages up. So it'll be interesting to see how, where that balance point is with wages as time goes on. Should be increased demand for goods, services, and housing, and assessed values should increase. And that is all I have for you, and I'm sorry it was so economic. I was an economics teacher at one point in my life, so I dealt with many audiences that weren't so excited about economic data and things like that. If you do have any questions about this, or if you'd like a copy of this, I put my email on there. Please feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to forward that on to you. And I can actually forward the original presentation as well, which has much more data within that. So are there any questions?
I'll just say, as a comment, looking at the types of jobs and the demographics of people moving because of what's happening in the region for Tesla is one thing. It seems to me that our not only infrastructure, but our schools and what we're hearing here tonight are right on target. Right on target.
I would agree. I think it's definitely moving in the right direction.
AJ, thank you. Is there any comments, questions from the board? From the audience? AJ, you did a great job.
No one fell asleep, so that's all I can ask for. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mayor, Board of Supervisors, trustees, I know this has been a long evening, but as was started, this is pretty significant in going forward. And I'd like to share one thing. City Manager Nick Morano asked me, what is the school board, what are our priorities? What's the major priorities? And I believe after hearing everybody, and what I told them, it's the strength of unity. If we stick together and get out of the way and let the informal groups, do what they need to do, it's all happening. It's real now. It's no longer talk. So that's my closing comments before we adjourn. And Mr. Mayor, any final comments?
I don't have any final comments. I just repeat what I said earlier, and that is, every time we go to these, it's an eye-opener, and it tells me that, we're on the right track, and we're really kind of cutting edge here. And we're patting ourselves on the back but we deserve to be patted on the back. And that's everybody around this table, everybody out there. Pat yourselves on the back because this is good stuff. Good stuff. And it'll be a template for what's happening in the rest of the country. So go for it.
Any additional comments from the Board of Trustees? I just adjourn the Carson City School
Oh, we
Board
got to
of
have
Trustees.
concluding public
Oh,
comment.
that's-
What are you doing, guys? Any
That's
public
it.
comment?
Public comment. Okay, hearing none, I adjourn the Carson City School Board of Trustees.
Board of Supervisors, we'll be in recess for 10 minutes and come back.